The setting was deceptively simple. A scheduled engagement, likely one of many on the royal calendar. Perhaps it was a visit to a charity, a speech on mental health, or a diplomatic function. But those tuning in quickly sensed this was different. William appeared, as always, polished and prepared. Yet from his first words, a palpable tension filled the air. The delivery. His voice, usually steady and authoritative, carried a slight but unmistakable tremor. He began by thanking the public for their ongoing support, a common enough opener. But then he paused. The silence stretched for a beat too long, his eyes dropping briefly to his notes before meeting the camera again with a rawness seldom seen. Over the past several months, he began, my family has been navigating a period that is profoundly challenging. He spoke not in the detached formal tone of royal proclamations, but in the language of personal struggle. He referenced the loneliness of grief, the difficulty of protecting one's family while honoring a public duty, and the heavy weight of expectation that comes with his role. William spoke candidly about the impact of relentless media attention on his family's mental health, particularly on his children. He voiced a father's fear and frustration, a plea for space and normality that echoed his own mother's battles. A private health struggle. In a move that shocked observers, William alluded to a significant, ongoing health concern within his immediate family. While maintaining necessary privacy, his words hinted at a serious, taxing situation, one that required his constant attention and emotional reserves. He did not specify, but the pain in his eyes spoke volumes, suggesting a crisis far removed from the palace gates. This was the moment that truly shocked the world, the sight of a future king, often perceived as the stoic, unflappable anchor of the monarchy, allowing his composure to crack, revealing the weary, worried man beneath the uniform. Chapter 3. The Global Reaction. A Wave of Empathy. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Social media platforms were flooded with messages of support, using hashtags like "We Love You, William" and "Prince of Heart." Major news outlets, often critical of the royals, paused their scrutiny, their headlines shifting from gossip to genuine concern. William's emotional disclosure was more than a news cycle. It was a significant event with layers of meaning for the institution he represents and the society that watches him. For centuries, the British monarchy operated on the principle of never complain, never explain. The ideal royal was impassive, enduring hardship in silent dignity. William, while deeply respectful of tradition, has increasingly championed a new model, one that balances duty with discernible humanity. This update was perhaps its boldest manifestation. By showing his struggle, he may have safeguarded the monarchy's relevance in an era that values authenticity over pageantry. He signaled that strength is not synonymous with silence. As a global figure often associated with traditional masculine roles, military pilot, father, future leader, William's public display of emotion carried significant weight. It challenged outdated notions that equate emotional expression with weakness. In speaking of fear, loneliness, and the burden of care, he presented a more holistic, healthier model of leadership and manhood, one rooted in emotional intelligence as much as in duty. Advancing the mental health conversation. William, alongside Catherine, has long been a champion of mental health through their Heads Together initiative. This moment, however, moved from advocacy to lived testimony. By sharing his own family strain, he lent unprecedented personal weight to the cause, destigmatizing the experience of anxiety and grief under pressure. It was a powerful reminder that no one, regardless of status or privilege, is immune to life's psychological challenges. In an age where the private lives of public figures are often commodified for headlines, there are rare moments that pierce through the noise, reminding us of the shared humanity behind the titles. The British royal family, an institution built on tradition, duty, and often impenetrable decorum, has endured its share of public and private trials. Yet few moments have resonated as profoundly as Prince William's recent, deeply personal public address, an update that laid bare his vulnerability and sent ripples of empathy and concern across the globe. On a seemingly ordinary day, flanked by the familiar backdrop of royal duty, William stepped forward not as a future king, but as a son, a husband, and a man grappling with the weight of personal and collective grief. His words, measured yet trembling with emotion, revealed a journey of heartbreak, resilience, and quiet fortitude. This was not a scripted statement, but a window into a soul shouldering unimaginable pressure. The world watched, transfixed, as the Prince of Wales delivered an update that would become one of the most heartbreaking and humanizing moments in modern royal history. To understand the gravity of William's emotional update, one must first appreciate the tumultuous backdrop against which it was delivered. The House of Windsor has, in recent years, faced a perfect storm of personal losses, public scandals, and relentless media scrutiny. Since the tragic death of Princess Diana in 1997, William and his brother, Prince Harry, have navigated life in the shadow of profound grief, all while under the world's watchful eye. Diana's absence has been a persistent ache, a wound reopened during milestones both public and private. For William, who has often spoken of wanting to keep his mother's memory alive for his own children, this loss is a foundational part of his emotional landscape. The passing of Prince Philip. The death of the Duke of Edinburgh in 2021 marked the end of an era, stripping the family of its patriarch and Queen Elizabeth II of her lifelong companion. The Queen's declining health, the gradual fading of the monarch, a symbol of stability for over 7 decades, has cast a pall of uncertainty and impending change over the family and the nation. The very public rift between William and Harry, exacerbated by Harry and Meghan's departure from royal duties and subsequent interviews, has added a layer of personal betrayal and public embarrassment. Increased scrutiny. With the Queen's advanced age, William and Catherine have been thrust ever closer to the forefront, their every move analyzed as the future of the monarchy. It is within this cauldron of private sorrow and public duty that William's update emerged, not as an isolated incident, but as the culmination of years of compounded pressure.